Okay, I have with me Jim Boyle. We're out here at Dinex, and you are the president of Dinex. I think you're back and forth from Turkey to America.
Yeah,
aren't you?
exactly. President of Dinex Americas, which is a big title for just saying I'm here to help us be successful here in Dublin, but I'm also working with one of our plants in Turkey. So a little bit of chance to get around and see the world.
How many actual manufacturers do you have? I know you got sales operations, different things.
Yep,
How many
yep.
manufacturers?
What I'm going to tell you is probably exactly wrong, but we have
Okay.
about 8 plants. We've got several plants in Europe. We've got Germany, Denmark, Latvia, Turkey. We've got a plant in Russia. We've got a plant in China. We've got a plant in Dublin, Georgia, which is the one I'm most excited about. But,
Me too.
yeah, exactly.
What a great thing today. We've been here today. The Dublin Lawrence Development Authority come in and fed the employees. And, of course, I'm biased with our Development Authority, but they do a wonderful job, and I know y'all have really felt welcome, haven't you?
I can tell you, I stepped in here in January to help us accelerate things, and I have heard nothing but positive comments about the Development Authority. They have been here every time we called and coming by and checking with us when we've had some issues to work out. They've absolutely been a resource. I've been very vocal throughout the entire Dinex organization that the Development Authority here has absolutely made a difference for us. And I'm not saying that just to help you with this with this interview. It's a fact.
Right. Now, you started with 5 employees here, if I remember correctly. Where are we at now?
We're at 54, I think. I actually just asked the question about an hour ago. The guy walking right past me there is digging out that number, but we're at 54. 2016 is going to be an important year for us where we will turn into a profitable operation here, and that really is the foundation for growth. We got some great contracts going with a couple of actually Georgia-based factories that we're going to be supplying. So next year should be a good year.
And that's important. You've probably been seeing a lot of red, huh?
Seen some red, and whether that red is blood or loss-making figures, it's not usually what you want to see. But
that's right.
Look, it requires investment to get started. We're probably a little slow in our startup, but we got a good team here. We got folks that are committed, and so we're well underway now.
Okay, you mentioned 54 employees. Where are we headed as far as
we're headed to 150. 150 is the target employment here. Now, at the end of the day, that depends on how well we take care of our customers. But yeah, I think we're well on the way.
And how has it been getting workforce? Has it been hard, been easy? And I know Oconee Fall Line has played a major part in
Absolutely.
that training.
I've had a couple of meetings over there with the folks at Oconee. They have been super helpful, and we've talked about curriculum and what do we need. I'll tell you, in general, finding folks for working out on the production floor been okay. Or I shouldn't say okay. It's been good. No problems there. There may be some specific skills that we have to train in-house, but that's the case with any factory. Little more challenging on the white collar side. Some of the skills that we need require some special education, and we're getting some of those folks in. That's a bit more challenging, though.
Right. I had lunch with one of you guys. He came from Chicago. One come from Tifton. So that's also good when families are moving in and being a part of the community.
Dinex has moved a couple of folks in, we're committed to being successful here. So if we can find the skills locally, we're going to find them, and in those special cases, because it's more expensive, but certainly it brings new revenues to the local economy, we'll move folks in.
How competitive is your industry?
I've never met an industry that wouldn't say they're very competitive, but I'd say we're very competitive. We're supplying into the automotive industry, and automotive customers are tough. I mean, they got high expectations. They have high standards. And if you look at what we do, we take metal, so you're talking about a commodity product subject to a lot of fluctuation, and we add some labor to it. So we got to do that in an efficient way to make sure that we can employ the right number of folks here.
Well, I know you bend metal to make it simplistic, but then I understand you do something really, really good is the insulation process.
Sure.
I mean, because there's a lot of cheap product on the market. Tell me about that.
There's no doubt that our ability to differentiate ourselves comes from doing more than bending metal. You're right. We can oversimplify it and say, hey, guess what? We bend some metal and we
That's
bend it
right.
over a knee. But there's a couple of processes here. One, the insulation that you mentioned. I don't want to call it art, but certainly it's a lot more value add, and it's not the commodity that a bent piece of metal might be. That's number one. But number two, a lot of folks may have heard of the term catalytic converter. It's the thing that's in your car which helps control the bad stuff coming out of the tailpipe. And so we actually coat things that become catalytic converters here. And so that's a pretty high technology process, and it's a little more complicated than bending metal. Matter of fact, we just hired a few months ago a recent Georgia grad he was a Georgia grad with a chemical engineering background, if I got that right. Yeah, that'll be a key to our business going forward.
Can't go wrong with a Georgia boy.
I'm thinking not. I'm thinking not.